Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. Today our show is Light and Easy Cooking. Hurry back and join us. Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. Today our show is Light and Easy Cooking. And our host for today is Jay Wiencko from Cooking for Candlelight. Hi, Jay.
Hi, Marsha. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you, Jay. Now, Jay, this is something different and unique for Just Ask. We've never done a cooking show before. We want to implement this particular type of program in our services so that our elderly and our disabled members can find out ways to cook and it'll be simplified for them, or better yet, healthy. So tell me
That's
what
a
you're going
great
to do.
idea, actually. I know when you told me about it, I thought, what a great idea, because that's a segment of the population who, in many cases, I think, probably doesn't eat as well as they should because of the fear about how much effort is involved in cooking. It doesn't have to be so hard. You know, let's not give up the hope of cooking at home and eat fast food all the time. It's not good for you. You've got to eat some good, healthy, balanced meals at home, and they're not that hard to put together.
Okay.
So I took the challenge. I eagerly thank you for bringing me back out of retirement to throw a great-looking meal together that hopefully people will find isn't too difficult to make.
All right.
So what are we going to start with really is pasta. All right, pasta is a very simple food to make. Who can't boil water? Pasta is simply added to boiling water, right? Nobody
Cooks itself.
Nobody would mistake that. While we mention that, let's get the heat going on the water, get it stoked up, and just start the pasta, because I hope that our plan is that this meal will actually be finished in 30 minutes or less.
Okay.
So let's get a pound of semolina, nice twisted pasta, which will be a nice, attractive type of pasta for this meal that we're going to do tonight.
So you just put that in the water?
Yeah, just boil some water. Now, a lot of
Okay.
people add salt to the water. The reason people add salt to the water isn't necessarily for the flavoring, but really it adds a chemical reaction to the water that helps it boil faster.
Okay.
So if you're in a hurry, add a dash of salt. Don't worry too much about it. A lot of people add some oil to the water as well. That helps the pasta not clump together in chunks. You ever pulled out some pasta from a pot and they're all clumped together? If you put a little oil in there,
The oil
I
keeps
could
it
use oil.
lubricated?
Exactly. And you
Okay.
stir it around, and we'll let that start boiling, and that kind of gives it a little bit of a coating, so it doesn't all stick together and hopefully won't burn on the bottom of the pot.
Okay.
Now, a good pound of pasta like that, you probably need about 2 or 3 quarts of water at a minimum to get going, so that it doesn't all absorb and you end up with a solid brick of pasta and no water. That would ruin your meal. So of course, get it going, get the water going, give it a nice good stir so all the pasta is coated with the oil and the water, and it's going to have a nice little cook. In this case, we're talking about 11 minutes, 11, 12 minutes once it gets back to boiling, and we don't want to overcook it.
All right.
Overcooking the pasta leaves it kind of limp, kind of mushy.
Right.
If you cook it a little bit under, chances are the heat in the pasta itself will cook it just a little bit more to make it al dente, which is what the Italians call to the tooth, just right.
Dente.
Al dente.
Al dente. Okay. I got that. Okay. Okay.
But the big question is, what are we going to do with the pasta? There's so many different ways to serve it. Break out of the mold of the simple tomato sauce and meat. Try something healthy. Try a white sauce, maybe with seafood.
Okay.
If you're concerned about your heart and your cholesterol levels, you can use fish. Salmon works wonderfully. And how do you put salmon together with pasta? You can poach it. I've actually made dishes, Marsha, with one pot, a particular pot that has a steaming basket in it. I'll put the pasta in the water underneath. I'll use the steaming basket on top, and I'll put a piece of fish up there with some broccoli around it.
Okay.
Allow that to steam. And when I'm done, I pour the water out with the pasta, drain it. I've got the fish and the broccoli all cooked. I'll cut it up or mix it up, and I'll put it in with the pasta.
Wow.
And it turns out great. Today we're going to make it with shrimp.
Okay.
Shrimp is easy to make. You know, I'm going to tell you right here today that what we've got for ingredients, I've made it the easiest possible. So there's no excuse to make a dish like that. There's no excuse not to make a dish like this, presuming that it's too difficult.
So this is really a simple dish.
Yeah, you know how simple it is? Look, I didn't even have to go and chop up anything. These mushrooms are already sliced.
Okay.
I bought them just like that. You don't have to.
Now,
But
is that easier to do
I'll just turn our pasta down here a little
Okay.
bit. Is it easier to do?
Is it easier to buy vegetables already sliced and diced than it is to just stand around?
Heck yeah.
Okay, because it cuts off some of the time
Oh,
you're
yeah.
wasting. Okay.
Now, sometimes you'll find you have to shop carefully because when they're already sliced, in many cases, especially like mushrooms, it allows some oxidation to occur a little quicker. So on the cut marks, so what I mean by that is if you take a mushroom and you look at the very edges, mushrooms that have been out on the shelf for a few days, maybe toward the end of their shelf life, are tending to get a little brown on the edges. So they're not as fresh. These are very fresh. They're all white on the edges. There's no darkness on them. Same thing with these cut vegetables here. Beautiful, colorful red peppers, green peppers, yellow peppers, and onions. I could have sat at home or stood at home more likely and chopped these up myself, but you know, I've got them right there in the produce section, and I can do that. But you know, it depends on what kind of a meal you're making and how you want it to look. I might actually change the texture of a meal by chopping these up a little bit more. We've also got sauces. Now, how are we going to finish off this dish with what kind of a sauce? I've given you a couple selections that I'll let you make the call on, but I'll describe what we've got here.
Okay.
Pesto, a very traditional Italian sauce that really is, it's delicious. It has a very robust flavor. Pesto is made primarily from basil, olive oil, garlic.
You make that yourself?
No, I bought this actually
okay.
prepared. It was
You
in
can
the
buy it.
refrigerated section in the dairy area, but you can make this in a blender. Oh, it's like that. It's easy. Take a bunch of fresh basil leaves, a couple of heads of garlic, some olive oil, some little bit of salt, and pine nuts. That's another ingredient in traditional pesto, but you can make variations of it using instead of basil, you can substitute parsley.
Okay, now can you prepare a meal with all of these at once, or
Well, you
would
could.
you recommend just
Well,
one?
I would
one or
say,
two?
you know, pesto's got a lot of garlic in it, and I've got some chopped, or rather minced garlic here, which again, I didn't sit here and chop approximately 6 heads of, or cloves of garlic, or more, maybe that's 6 to 10, I'd say. I bought this in a jar. It's already minced.
Okay.
Okay, I took a spoon, I spooned out a bunch, and there it is. I've got shredded Parmesan cheese.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't get the kind that's in a shaker that comes out powdery. That'll finish our pasta just right, but that's already prepared for me. And I've got some dried herbs. This is herbs de Provence, which is really a conglomeration of dried herbs, rosemary, sage, marjoram, thyme, oregano, wonderful conglomeration of herbs that you can flavor things with. What I would do, oh, and I brought some Cajun seasoning along. What kind of Cajun seasoning? Whatever you like. If you like Cajun seasoning, go find one that you like the best. Keep it on your shelf for a special occasion like this. And you know, if it's something you like is good enough to put on toast and eat it in the morning, then use it.
So you can actually mix the Cajun seasoning with 1 or 2 of these, or
Sure. Well, you know,
because I'm thinking in terms of this, all this is pretty spicy here, you know, and that a person who's, you know, somewhat concerned about the cholesterol, or if they
spicy
have,
doesn't mean anything for cholesterol. Olive oil is one of the best oils you can have. Cholesterol is not really a problem with olive oil. In fact, it's good for you.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to drink gallons of it, but I'm telling you, if you're going to use oil, olive oil is the way to go. Plus, it adds a wonderful flavor. Use a combination here. I would either go with the pesto and the cheese, or maybe the garlic, the herbs, the Cajun, and the cheese. That was kind of what I was leaning towards, but I threw the pesto in as a late option.
Well, Jay, I'm just going to close my eyes and whatever,
All right.
whatever you come up
going
with.
on some chopping here, because I'm going to mince up this just a little bit more.
Here, and I'll get up.
Want to switch sides?
Yep, I'll get behind you.
Well, not to really demonstrate a whole lot, because we're not really trying to show off or anything here, but we've got, you know, some mushrooms, and I'm just going to pile these up here and just chop them up a little bit more than what they are already. They're kind of big. And with these twisted types of pasta, one of the concerns you should have in trying to prepare a meal is that it looks good. It looks appealing.
Now, I'm thinking, you know, you're re-chopping the mushrooms, but a person that's, you know, concerned about cooking fast and easy, they don't necessarily have to chop up the stuff.
No.
They can actually buy it already
Well, these are sliced.
chopped.
Yeah, you can get them chopped. I don't know if you can get chopped mushrooms, but look at how easy it is. You get a nice knife. Don't get a tiny little knife that's dangerous. Get a nice, thick chopping knife.
Okay.
Take it, put your hand on the top, put the tip down, and push the rest down in an order like that. Kind of vary the angle, and voila.
So don't get fancy with cutting, just cut.
No, just cut.
Okay.
But be careful, keep your fingers out of the way.
Okay.
I'm no trained, formally, Marsha, I didn't learn cooking at Johnson & Wales or any cooking college. I learned it really out of necessity. When I was young, my mother passed away when I was young, and my sisters, God bless them, they made wonderful meals for me. if you like hamburgers and hot dogs. So I decided I got kind of tired of that, and I desired other types of food. So I picked up a cookbook. It must have
learned how to
been Julia Child's cookbook, because I
Okay.
always used to watch her show. And I said, you know, I'm going to make something good. So all you got to do is read a cookbook,
Read a
do what
cookbook.
it says, and it comes out great. I'll take some
Okay,
peppers
and
here.
if you're making it yourself, you're going to eat it. Okay, okay. Now, Jam, I'm noticing that the steam is coming from under the pot here. Do you stir the pasta at all, or you just
No, you
let it?
do. Go ahead.
Oh, I
Take
can
that
stir
wooden
it?
spoon
Okay.
right there.
Okay, I'm going to take a
Just
peek
give
at
it a
it.
look. Make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom.
And going to move it around here.
That's right.
So should you just move it around a couple of times to make sure it's not sticking or anything?
You can do that.
Okay. Because I know you don't supposed to
There,
stir.
that's good enough. Go ahead and put the cover back on.
Okay, I'll just, okay.
And if you can, turn the heat up again a little bit, which is counterclockwise.
Turn the heat up. Okay.
Yeah, all the way up. There you go, counterclockwise. Beautiful. Okay.
Okay.
That's
Nice little
great.
stoves. Okay.
Now I'm just going to chop up a few more things. I've got onions here. You know, the reason
Now,
I'm
is this more just colorful, or is
It's
it flavor?
colorful, but boy, I'll tell you what, you got some nutrients in here that you can't deny. Peppers, one of the greatest sources of vitamin C.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're not going to squeeze an orange into this dish, but you could put peppers in, and I'll tell you what, ounce for ounce, red peppers have more vitamin C in them than orange juice.
Okay.
You know that?
Oh,
3
no.
times as much.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
We'll just spread these together. We've got some onions. Now, if
Wait,
you've got a food processor, you can make it easy on yourself by chopping these. Or, you know, the problem with food processors sometimes is that they
Cut too fine.
exactly turns it
Okay.
into mush.
Okay.
And
I thought about
that's not
that.
what we're looking
This
for.
looks a little like, you know, you get to taste everything. So if you once
Exactly.
it's cooked, it looks like you get to actually taste the onion, taste the pepper, taste
Exactly.
the okay.
You want to try to make the pieces approximately the same size. Now, if you look at a shrimp, and this is basically a U60, there's 60 of these. They're small cocktail shrimp, nothing fancy. They're about the same size as one of these chunks of peppers or
Oh.
onions and that sort of thing. So
Okay.
they kind of all look of the same size. Now, the good thing about this meal is we can actually, could you pass me the lighter down there?
The
on
lighter,
the bottom, the red-handled one. The good thing about this meal is that you can actually cook the sauce while the pasta's cooking.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
So we'll get this
Most
going
women
here.
do. Okay.
Well-
I notice women cook in unison, but men sometimes don't. So, but you know, people who cook a lot know how. Okay. So I'm just saying. Now, when you say you can cook this at the same time you cook that,
Yeah.
okay, then because it's going to be done at the same time.
At the
practically.
same time, that's what you're
Okay.
hoping for. We're
Okay.
going to use an olive oil and butter-based sauce for the pasta. Now, we've got a pound of pasta in there, so we're not going to be skimpy with the olive oil.
Okay.
We're going to give, I'd say that's about a good cup of olive oil.
Okay. So that's
And
a
we'll
cup
take-
of olive oil.
yeah.
Okay.
We'll take, let's see, how much butter would I say? I'm going to mix it with butter. It kind of gives it a nice, we'll take like 3 or 4 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons of butter. Nice chunk in there. Now, if you have an aversion to butter, which a lot of us should, because of our hearts and the cholesterol levels, don't use it. The olive oil works just fine.
Okay. Because I'm sure people are saying, "Wow, why is he mixing olive oil and butter together?"
It tastes good.
Okay. He said that, ladies.
It
and
tastes
gentlemen. Okay. Okay. It tastes good, but would it actually be healthy for you though?
Well, no. You know, the butter is not something that we
Okay.
commonly refer to as being
So you
healthy
can't
for
leave the
us.
butter out,
You can.
or can you leave
absolutely.
the olive oil out and use the butter?
You could do that too if you're
Okay.
younger and you know, you're an active person with an extremely you're genetically blessed to have low cholesterol. Go
Okay.
for it. Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but that's what I've been told and led to believe. Go ahead. So we've got that olive oil and butter in there. Let's go with, what do you think? The pesto or the garlic and Cajun? I think. What do you think?
I would say the Cajun for
Yeah,
sure.
I think so too. Let's go. Let's take some garlic. We'll take about it. Look, we're not going to be cheap on the garlic. I'm going to take a good 3 teaspoons of garlic in there.
3 teaspoons
yeah.
of garlic. Okay. Smells good.
Smells
Okay.
good. Hey, everybody loves garlic. And let's see, we could take that and move that over there.
Okay.
Once that's moving along, we're going to take the, let's see here. Well, we'll season it right here. We'll put some of this Cajun seasoning in right now.
So you put your seasoning in with your flavor.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Before
That's
the
probably about
vegetables and all that.
Maybe a ½ teaspoon is all I would use there.
Okay.
Go ahead and put the veggies right in there. Now, mushrooms, funny, you know, they're funny. They absorb any kind of liquid you cook them in, which makes them great in crock pot meals or roasting, where they absorb the juices and they come out just delicious. Now, in sautéing, if you're not careful, you can end up absorbing all of your cooking fat.
Okay.
And in this case, we have enough in there so that they're not going to have the chance to do that.
It's a pretty color. I know we
Isn't
got
that
a nice
beautiful?
shot
I
of
don't know
that.
if you can see that. Boy,
That's pretty.
it's going to look great when we get that on top of the pasta.
Now, will we assume that the pasta's done because you know?
Well, one way to find out, that's to grab
It's
a
like
piece
it's
and try
steaming
it.
over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it should be. Let's take a look here. Okay, let's do this
So
together.
how do you tell a pasta's done?
Grab that little plate,
Okay.
and we'll take one of each and see what, see how it appears. Okay. You grab one, and I'll grab one. Blow on it now.
All right.
Real close.
Mm-hmm.
Real close.
Mm-hmm.
That's not far at all from what I think we should do. So what I'd like to do, shut the heat right off. That water is real hot. It's going to cook for another couple minutes, and so will this. And by the way, there's nothing that keeps us from going all vegetarian with this. We could just leave this as it is and
That's
forget the
good.
shrimp. But we're going to put the shrimp in.
Okay.
We'll put the shrimp in. We'll add some beautiful herbs.
Nice colors. Real
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely. Don't overload the pot. This frying pan's probably a little small for the amount of food that's in there right now.
Now, is all that going to come out golden brown or something, or
Yeah.
nice and colorful?
These shrimp are already cooked. I went easy. Marsha, these are already cooked cocktail
Oh.
shrimp. I didn't even have to cook them. I just thawed them out. I rinsed them, drained them, and here they are. They're going to be nice and absolutely tender and delicious in here.
Okay.
We'll throw just a little bit of these herbs in here. Take a pinch. That's between your first two fingers and your thumb. One pinch. Drizzle that right in there.
That looks
Maybe
good.
one more pinch.
Okay.
Okay. Let this cook up. We'll heat it up. The peppers, onions. Oh, it's going to be great. Why don't we take a break while we pour the water out of the pasta?
Okay.
We'll throw it in the colander, drain it out. We'll come back and we'll finish this off.
You heard the man. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Open up a little bit, okay?
I don't want to eat.
Come on, just one bite.
I don't like it.
Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. If you're just now joining us in the second half of our news segment of Light and Easy Cooking, and we have our guest with us, a chef for today, rather, Jay Wiencko, who is actually from Cooking for Candlelight. Now, Jay, it smells too good in here. Okay, so yep. And
We're not done yet.
I'm
We've
getting a
got a
little
couple
hungry.
more touches just to...
But I wanted to say
Yeah.
something. As good as this looks,
Yeah.
I know that it didn't take, it was under 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but basically that's because everything was like pretty much standard. The onions and the peppers and everything were chopped. So a person can actually leave out the butter if they choose to.
Yeah,
That's,
they
that's
can leave
butter,
the
it's not
butter out.
margarine, right? Okay, that's butter. And they
Yeah,
still would get
butter
this,
better than margarine.
okay, so they still get the same flavoring, basically. but by
With
the-
or without butter, you mean?
Right,
No, it's slightly different. The butter gives it a bit more of a, I guess, a velvety flavor.
okay,
But it's not essential. No, the olive oil is certainly adequate.
okay, okay. And secondary, I want to know now, if a person is not a pasta eater,
Yeah,
can you substitute
Yeah.
with rice?
certainly. Absolutely, you can use a rice. Now,
Okay.
some rices might be better off flavor-wise than others. I know a lot of people who are very health conscious like to eat whole grain rice.
Okay,
It's possible you could use that with this, but my personal preference would not be a whole grain rice just because of
Okay.
its
so
kind of
it'd
a
be a,
thick, maybe you could use a pilaf.
okay, pilaf sounds really
Excellent,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
Is it-
I'm a rice person. I just asked for us
Yeah.
rice eaters. Okay, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what I wanted to say was that we want to start something different for Just Ask Foundation, so that we decide to bring on an additional attraction to our show, which will be a cooking segment. So from time to time, you will see us with a different cook from each and every walk of life, which will give us something different, you know, any type of cuisine or basic, simple meals, even desserts. But we want to especially thank Jay for helping us out on this very first segment, because he cooks very well. And we're going to enjoy this meal today. Okay, okay. So Jay, tell us, you know, about the roundup here.
Well, I think the real way, and this was the main concept behind cooking for candlelight was that a meal, to enjoy a meal to its fullest, you should really enjoy how it looks as well as how it tastes. And it doesn't hurt to enjoy the cooking experience as well. And what your goal was also my goal, and that's to make it an enjoyable experience that isn't a burden. Cooking shouldn't be a burden. It should be as good an experience as eating it.
Right.
As eating the food. So hopefully in 20 minutes, this is not too much effort to ask for a really nice meal that's going to look dynamite on a plate. You'll be able to serve it to yourself or to a guest of yours or family member, and they're all going to really appreciate
And you
how
can do
good
this
it looks.
in a, is this considered a skillet? So you can do this
Absolutely.
in a skillet or frying pan or wok?
Oh yeah, you could use a wok actually.
Okay.
Sure,
Yeah, I
why
bet your
not?
wok is different. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, now I notice you just put a little,
I put a little cooking sherry
Sherry
in
in
there. Yeah, that's a
there.
nice little ending to it. Now
Okay.
I would probably cook that for just a little bit more, just because it will just remove
now the
the
sherry
alcohol
just gave
from
it a
that.
new aroma.
Oh yeah, it did.
Okay,
Talk about. Oh,
Okay,
yeah, sherry goes so well with
I know
seafood
people
and
are saying, what is
shellfish
she
in
smelling?
particular.
Well, getting a
Oh,
little tipsy here, but that smells
Oh,
nice.
no.
Now let me ask you this, okay,
Yeah.
if a person is vegetarian, they can do this with all the vegetables
don't
and
need
feel,
anything at all. Yeah,
okay,
just-
feel just as good. Can you do it with other meats?
no reason you couldn't use chicken.
Okay,
Beef might be a little bit different
okay.
with pasta, but chicken would work well. I suppose you could use pork. What else am I?
Well, I can
missing?
see the chicken and I can see
Yeah.
the fish, but if you did the fish would basically be broiled and then laid on top or something like
Oh,
that?
heck no, yeah, I just boil it right in with the pasta. I do it all the time. If
Oh,
it's
okay.
just you and you don't mind that, you can actually throw the piece of fish, if it's a firm fish, not like a white flaky fish would break apart, but if anything like salmon or
Salmon.
swordfish or halibut, you could actually put in with the pasta and let it boil right with the pasta.
Wow.
Miraculously, depending on the thickness of the cut, it'll cook about the same time the pasta will. So it all comes out together. Dump it all in the colander, put it back in the pot, put your olive oil if you want, and some garlic. If you're in a pinch, you could use garlic powder. Salt,
Okay.
pepper, some cheese.
Yeah, everybody
Oh, it's
doesn't
gonna
use the
come out
same
great.
types of seasoning and
Yeah.
stuff and don't get the same effect.
Exactly.
Okay. But basically, you know, we're counting on what's healthy these days.
That's
So
right.
You hear a lot of people talk about their health conscious, and
Mm-hmm.
we want to make sure that they enjoy the meals while you're being health conscious.
You got that right.
Okay.
Let's take a look here. We'll get the pasta, these nice spiral pasta here. We'll pour it right on our platter.
Okay, I know our
This will be a,
camera people are smelling this going,
well, that's
okay.
the other objective, is to make sure the meal's good for the crew.
Okay, yep,
Go ahead and take our
okay.
mixture, which is just beautiful, and we can just take it and start
That looks good.
pour it right over.
I know
there.
somebody's got a
Oh,
shot of
my,
that.
Oh my!
Okay, okay. That looks good.
It's not even wasted.
Very pretty.
Oh, look at
Well, you
that.
know, women always say food's pretty.
Oh,
Okay.
it is. It's a pleasure to look at as well as to eat. We can finish it with Parmesan cheese.
Wow.
This will kind of melt right in there, and don't use the shaker kind. Just go out and get some shredded Parmesan. It's much, much better.
Okay.
Fantastic. You can finish it with a little ground pepper. I prefer the ground pepper because it has a more of a distinct flavor
Okay.
than
Now, does every woman have a
Powdered
man that
pepper?
can cook at home? No.
well, it
But
should.
even if you don't, you can cook this yourself. Okay, okay.
Finish
okay.
it and serve it with a beautiful bottle of white wine like you've chosen here. The Chardonnay, excellent
Okay.
choice for this meal. I think will be fine. I'm not a wine expert, but I'm sure that'll be
Yes.
a phenomenal
yes.
touch. And like you say, maybe a light dessert, maybe a chiffon or a sorbet
Oh,
for
yeah.
dessert,
Oh, yeah.
and you're in business. What do you
Okay.
think?
I think that's fine. I think
Any
I want to
questions?
try it.
Oh, is
think
that part of the deal?
I think I'm going to wrap up here with a
Oh,
little
well,
taste
we gotta
here.
Enjoy it. Let's enjoy it. Let's just take a.
Well,
a
ladies
little
and
bit.
gentlemen, what I want to say is that if you know someone that's interested in coming on our show and sharing a recipe or something like that, give us a call at the Just Ask hotline. That number is 248-988-0250, 248-988-0250, or catch the address in the credit roll and definitely drop us a line. Let us know what kind of meal do you think that people would like to have. This very light and easy. And also, we have a game that we're playing. We have a beautiful gift basket that was donated to us by Autobahn Gift Baskets of West Bloomfield. And I know somebody can get a shot of that pretty basket over there. I'm going to give that basket away by someone naming the food show. So
Oh.
currently the name of the food show is Light and Easy. If we're happy with Light and Easy, we can take a vote on it. If not, send in your postcards with a new name for the food segment of our show and win that basket. So Jay, let's
It's not often you come across such a democratic program as yours.
No, you don't. So, okay, I'm going to try some of this nice and light and easy food here.
Yeah.
I must admit, I'm hard to please, but this is not hard. Okay, you got me. Well, I tell you what, I don't want to eat in front of everybody and not share. So we're going to end this segment here with our guest, Jay Wiencko from Cooking for Candlelight. Please, Jay, come back and join us again.
Thank you very much.
Thank
it was a
you.
wonderful experience.
Thank you so much. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, this show is designed for you, the people. We do all kinds of segments, so you give us a call or jot down the address and send us a postcard. You know who I am. I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask, and what do I always say? If you know someone with a disability, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. I'm your host, and I'm about to eat dinner. Thank you.
Bon